I know that I talk about a lot of expensive stuff in this channel. That's all gonna change today. These are the cheap, high-quality items that I can barely live without. Welcome, I'm Carl Murawski, and this is the channel that helps you own better, look better, and live better. Now, all of these items are listed and linked below because some of them are kind of hard to find, like our first pick. Now, this right here, if you're in construction or in forestry, this is not gonna be any surprise to you. But a lot of times, people will buy little notebooks, right? And whether it's field notes or something from Moleskine, they're very expensive, right? You're talking 20 bucks or whatever. This guy right here, hardcover, is $8.25. And if you buy them in packs of, I think, 3 or more, they go down even more. We use these to basically log everything. So when you open it up, if you look inside, it has all kinds of calculations here for some sloping and benching, but the actual pages themselves, one side is grid, and then the other side is sort of lined in this almost table form. And in the back here, you even have a couple of really handy formulas and stuff. But these things are absolutely bulletproof. You know, when it comes down to writing down an idea you might have or whatever, I notice that sometimes I'm a little hesitant to write it down in these really expensive notebooks. They're fantastic. There is also a Write in the Rain version. Another cool thing is if you are gonna use this thing out in the field somewhere, right here it says the paper in this book is made of 50% high-grade rag stock with a water-resisting surface sizing. I don't know what that means, but anyway. Now, the natural companion to your notebook would be some sort of a marking instrument, and I almost always go with the Fisher Space Bullet Pen, which is just this tiny little thing. So small, as a matter of fact, that I often lose it, and then I end up finding it, and you know, I go about my merry day. The thing is, though, that those are about 34 bucks. So, actually a better option, in my opinion, is the clicker one, which is actually from Write in the Rain. Now, this actually has a Write in the Rain cartridge in it. It's like a co-branded thing, right? So it's actually made by Fisher Space Pen, except for it's in a clicky fashion, which I find is actually a lot easier rather than taking the cap off and posting it back here. Inevitably, it gets lost. These are much easier to keep in your shirt pocket, pull out and just do this rather than, you know, take it out. And I know it sounds really small, like a small detail, but it actually does really make a difference. And the other thing is that the Write in the Rain version is like 18 bucks. So it's about half of what the Space Pen is. And the only thing that you're getting is a different form factor. Thank you, shout out to my buddy Taylor over at Best Damn EDC for that tip. Now, if you want to upgrade, you certainly can, you know, I mean, you have stuff like this, the Big Idea, I think it's the TI, I forgot what it's called, something, and it basically takes like over 100 different cartridges. This is pretty expensive though, so while this is nice, I wouldn't necessarily take it down in a dirt hole with me, you know what I mean? That might get lost. My favorite mechanical pencil, though, is this, the old classic Pentel P207. There's also the P209, which I think is a little thicker, and the P205, which is a little thinner. The classic right here has always been my go-to. It's sharp, and the nice thing is with this barrel here, you can actually follow along with a ruler, or if you're doing carpentry or whatever, it's always maintaining the same distance. Do you need that kind of precision on a day-to-day basis? I don't know, I like it. They're cheap, they're great, they last forever. The Victorinox Cadet. To me, this is the ultimate fifth pocket knife. This will fit in the fifth pocket of your jeans, and it has a pretty decent main blade. If you're gonna go and do something else that you need something bigger, you're probably buying something specifically for that purpose. It has a little, I don't know, this little tool right here, which I guess is for fingernail maintenance. At least that's what I use it for. You know, you get a little sharp edge, or, you know, you crack a nail on something when you're, you know, doing something. You can at least kind of round it off so it's not digging into your skin. Has a couple of, so there's a cap lifter, flat blade screwdriver right there, and then on this side you have your can opener and like a smaller flat blade screwdriver on the end of it. What makes these so perfect, this is about 45 bucks, is that this just tends to be the most handy little thing, and with the A-locks, it's so thin. If $45 for you is a little bit too much, there's also the Victorinox Classic SD, it's even cheaper. I think it gives up a thing or two, but what I like about these two is that they come in different colors, and I've actually given more of these away as gifts than I have for anything else. That's where they're great. I gave one to my sister, I said, here, just keep this in your car, in your purse, in your pocket, whatever. It'll come in more handy than you realize. And my wife has one, I have one. I'll just keep buying them because they're cheap enough that they make a great gift, and I know somebody will actually use them. This is something that I almost never leave home without. For a long time, I used to carry around the Have a Hank handkerchiefs. They're great and everything. Then, actually, I got turned on to these, the Mighty Hank with the microfiber on the back of it. I do wear glasses. A lot of times I'll wear contacts, which is what I have in most of the time, but I also wear glasses. I also love to wear sunglasses. This microfiber on the back here is awesome to have at a moment's notice. Now, this is the smaller version. They also have a bigger version, but you have this sort of, you know, cotton on one side, so if you're gonna wipe your brow or any of the things that you could do with a good handkerchief, microfiber on the back side, even cleaning off the phone screen, stuff like that. I mean, this thing is just so damn handy, and you just throw it in your back pocket. These smaller ones especially just disappear. You forget that it's there. So this, and this is like, you know, these EDC kits are just so small, and that's a big component to me is it can't be bothersome, right? It can't be burdensome, so that is an awesome thing. This next one's gonna sound a little weird, I think, but Green Bell nail clippers, okay? Yeah, okay, all right, who's thinking about their nail clippers? I get it, all right. You know, you get the ones at the gas station, and that's probably good enough, or CVS, and they're like 99 cents for a dozen. Now, these are about 12 bucks. But I gotta tell you, when you start using them, you'll never go back to those old cheap ones ever again. They're sharp, they're precise, they just work. And so with something that you have to do weekly or whatever, you know, your fingernails, it's worth having a good tool to do it with. And I gotta tell you, 12 bucks, I would buy these again in a heartbeat. Now you probably see this big guy living over here. This is a boot dryer. And now this is, I think, the dry guy. You can tell that it's pretty old. I've had this one for a long time. It's gotten a lot of use. And with everything that I put it through, I can't believe that it's still operating perfectly. This is, I think, just under $100. It's a little bit more expensive than everything else on the table, but I gotta tell you, this thing, when it comes to maintaining your expensive boots, you know, I got a pair of whites right here, an old pair of Iron Rangers right here. It's amazing what it can do. So at the end of the day, you take your boots off, you flip them upside down, you put them on the posts, and then you just let it run for a little while, and it blows air into your boots, dries them out. There's even a timer right here, so you can set the timer. And then when it's done, you take them off, they're dry, they're ready to go. Same thing with gloves. Sometimes you get gloves and they're wet or whatever. You can put those on the post. You can put 2 pairs of boots on the posts, set it for 60 minutes or whatever, dry out all your stuff, and then it's good to go for the next day. But this also has one little hack to it, and that is this little switch. So you can actually put on heat if you want. Now you gotta be careful with heat and leather because sometimes the two don't jive. But in the morning, sometimes what I'll do, especially if it's really cold, put my work boots on here, put on the heat, set it for like 10 minutes, just let it warm them up. Oh man, you don't know what it's like. You don't know luxury until you've put your foot into a nice warm boot for the day. I mean, like, it sounds silly, but it really makes a big difference. It sets me off. That and a good cup of coffee, I'm ready to go. Now, speaking of boots, the boot laces that are in these, right here we have a pair of Mad Dog laces. Here we have a pair of Pisgah Range boot laces. They are both paracord. They actually do have quite a few benefits. First of all, paracord is incredibly strong. It comes in a ton of different colors, and a pair of boot laces for, like, you know, just a run-of-the-mill pair of boots is like 10 bucks. So it's not much at all, and they'll last basically forever. It's really, really cool, and I love the fact that, you know, again, these are small companies, I think one-man shops, and they're making some really cool stuff that actually will help you accent your boot and make it like your own. You know, you could customize it, put orange laces on that bad boy if you want. I went with black on this one. This one's like a black with a you know, a couple dots on it or whatever, but so maybe I'm not practicing what I preach, but if you really want to go wild, go for it. I went a little more subdued, but these things work really well. And the other thing is when you actually pull that lace to get them untied, they just slip right off, and they work great. And again, cheap item that makes a big difference. Now finally, this right here, I will never be without a can of WD-40 in my garage, in my house. They'll do everything. The uses for WD-40, there's a whole website with over 100 uses for this thing, and it'll do everything from making things not squeak to making things not rust. I use it to spray down my snowblower before I go out and blow the snow because WD, I think it stands for water displacement, and they tried this formula like 40 times before they got it right. WD-40, right? And it just does everything I ever wanted and then more. I sprayed on my tools to keep them from rusting. You could do so much with this, and it comes in little cans too. So if you're not somebody who wants this big can hanging around, you can get the little ones and you'll realize what they do. Got a squeaky door? Go ahead and use some WD-40. Now, I also did a video a little while ago about my top 10 buy it for life things that I found in 2022. If you want to go check that out, it's right here. Bing! Did I have to make that noise? Bing! It's right there. So go and check that out if you want. There's some more stuff in there, things that are a little bit more expensive, but this is for the budget-minded folks out there. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.